All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I'm Tim Cullings, Director of Operations for Global Game Jam, and I hope you are having a great day, morning, night, whatever time it is in your part of the world. And thanks for joining us for Global Game Jam Online. We have over 21,000 jammers signed up at 585 virtual sites in 104 countries. And there's still time to join us at globalgamejam.org. Right now, today, we're happy to have our friends and mentors from the XR Bootcamp join us on the stream to talk about their services and how to reach them for all of your VR, AR, MR related questions as they relate to your Global Game Jam project. They'll be hanging out on our Discord that you can join at discord.gg/GGJ all throughout the jam on our VR, AR channel to help you along with your project. Welcome, Farhan. Maybe take a minute to introduce yourself.
Hey Tim, thank you for organizing this year's Global Game Jam in these unusual conditions, and happy to support as much as we can on the virtual reality, augmented reality side. I'm Farhan from XR Bootcamp, and we are here to support, as you mentioned, any VR AR project coming up from the Global Game Jam throughout the world. So I'm working in the XR Bootcamp, but before that, I also organized several global game jams, the first 3 ones actually. So we know the spirit and the excitement of global game jam. Of course, physically and online is a little bit different, but still I'm having the same excitement like 10 years ago, and happy to support now, at least not only in the traditional game platforms, but much more on the VR AR part. So thanks for inviting us today, Tim.
Yeah, we're definitely glad to have you here. Did you want to go into your presentation that you have provided here? Or?
Yeah, it will be great.
Okay.
Maybe we can give a short introduction of who we are, and then we can introduce our mentors. So as Tim mentioned, if you are already positioned as a jammer, you will already have VR AR channel open. So please, if you are a jam site organizer, don't forget to notify your jammers in your local area to mention that they can join to the VR AR channel to get support. We will try to cover as much as we can with 15 mentors. So yeah, this year, yeah, as we mentioned, it is different for many others. So maybe in the first slide we can start. We want to make sure that we have enough VR AR projects like last year. So we wanted to support with also SideQuest as well. So I would like to also thank the SideQuest team. So what we are doing as XR Bootcamp, our role is more on creating VR AR programs, free programs, or master classes, or even different content for VR AR, potential VR AR developers to start their first VR AR game or first VR AR experience journey. And for that, in the next slide, maybe I can share with you what kind of actually open lectures that we are organizing from Microsoft HoloLens. Maybe you know Freya from Unity Asset Store Shader Forge. She also joined us in the previous open lectures, especially for programming shaders. And we have also a Magic Leap team. In addition to that, right now we have one more upcoming VR locomotion and avatars open lecture from Microsoft Research on 11th of February. So happy to see you there as well. So in addition to open lectures, we are creating also advanced and beginner level classes. In the next slide, I will just tell you how we are actually aiming for these master classes. The main idea is we want to make it available for everyone. So even you have a full-time job or you are working on your own game project, you can still attend to these classes because everything is being done based on small lectures, but on top of that, there are lots of mentorship and co-working sessions happening live. I have to admit, we have really inspired from hackathons and global game jams while designing these courses. So every masterclass is actually attached to a one project, industry or game project, and in every class you are actually creating one at least like a prototype level project at the end of 6 to 8 weeks. So our maybe in the next slide you can see a few of our alumni who already joined to these classes, especially the advanced ones even is a little bit challenging for the Unity developers, and they are really enjoying the challenge level because we have assignments from easy, medium to hardest. We want to make sure that you can actually create your own game, your own experience at the end of the masterclass. And these are the companies. Maybe in the next slide I can share with you that they are the ones actually who joined to our masterclass. Yeah, we have also some game studios and companies. So we are creating these classes both for professionals and for individuals and freelancers who would like to take this program. So what is next? In the next slide, I can share with you, of course, like compared to traditional or PC, console, and mobile, VR AR is just ramping off right now. But we have to admit that the number of quests and standalone headsets as a user base and as a device base is coming to a critical mass at least. So it means that there might be a great opportunity to monetize your game. Game development for Oculus Quest or Steam VR. How we are doing that? We are helping you to create lifelike interactions because there is no more there are controllers, and even there are no controllers sometimes. So we are even teaching hand tracking and lifelike physics-based interactions here, especially based on Unity. And on the other side, since these devices are standalone like mobile phones, the chipsets are quite limited compared to a PC or console, high-end console. So we are actually teaching how to optimize best for your own game. And the last one is shaders programming, which is actually an important topic, not only for VR AR, but any game developer. So what kind of classes we have based on these three aspects? Maybe in the next slide I can share with you. So we have classes for beginners and advanced. So for beginners, we have XR Foundations Bootcamp. If you don't even have any game engine background, we are teaching everything from scratch. We have two paths, which is one of them is much more like designer and prototyper. The other one is developer, and we are helping you to get the best out of the game engine that you are using. And if you already know having a background on game engines and you already work for your own game in traditional platforms, then we are guiding you to the Prototyper Bootcamp, which I will share more details in a few slides. We have also two upcoming advanced classes right now coming up. One of them is Unity's ECS Dots. This is an interesting program for us. I will also share more details, and rendering optimization. So in the next slide, I can share a little bit more on dots. I know if you have heard of data-oriented programming rather than object-oriented, which lets you to actually create performant codes. And you can, if you are creating complex worlds, this is actually an important of your journey. This is still a very new bootstrapped by Unity, but we want to make sure that indie developers or even AAA studios are getting the best knowledge about DOTS from end-to-end and entity component system. And this program is really for already people who already know Unity game development. And it is not focusing only for VR AR. So if you are interested, we are starting this class in the next couple of months. And in the next slide, it's more about the foundations. So the foundations class is, as I mentioned, we call it 0 to hero. So you are learning everything you need. You don't need to have any prerequisite in this class. In the next one, we have another class. Maybe next slide I can share with you. XR Prototype Masterclass. These are for people who already have an experience on Unity development in any platform. It shouldn't necessarily need to be VR. And we are actually having your skills with Unity. We are bringing you to a VR AR world by helping you to create 4 prototypes and 1 MVP in 8 weeks only. This is quite an intense program, but our mentors are actually always with you throughout the week and making sure that you are creating the top prototypes for your portfolio or for your journey to start a new game in VR platforms. And we have the next slide. We have a rendering optimization class, which is, as I mentioned to you, one of the performance problems or one of the biggest challenges of game studios are performance problems, especially on mobile platforms. Even we are seeing AAA games that have still performance problems in consoles. So we want to make sure that we take care of the optimization part. And then this is quite interesting because we are giving you a nightmare scenario running on 10 frames per second. And with the help of the techniques that you are learning in this class, you are trying to bring it to 72 frames per second for Quest or 90 frames per second for Quest 2. So the next slide, I want to wrap up. Like we have only maybe a general now details of the classes. So all of them are live sessions. We have also recording, but this is for you to understand the class. And every week you have assignments, and every assignment is actually leading up to the capstone project. And especially in these lockdown times, we see that there is a huge interest for people to network. I really appreciate how Global Game Jam is actually helping towards that goal. We want to really keep this going throughout the year. So when you are in a beginner class or advanced class, you are actually at the same class with your peers. And the next slide, we have a video, but I don't know if it's working right now. It will work out. Maybe if it doesn't work, we can skip since we have mentors waiting. Okay, it looks like it works. There's not so much sound, but yeah, this is maybe for a few seconds we can show. As you see here, this is one of footage from one of our classes, Advanced VR Interaction. We are teaching reactive programming here and teaching a lot of interaction and interface topics here, including physics-based interactions in Unity, inverse kinematics, and at the end you are creating a virtual robotic arm. Okay, we can skip to the next slide, which I already mentioned. We have an open lecture with Microsoft Research. Is it possible to skip to the next slide? Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank all the Global Game Jam organization team, executive committee to make this VR/AR part happening right now in a short period of time. And Kate, Tim, and all the team out there, and of course, Jam organizers, for the sake of having better VR/AR projects this year, we have a great lineup of VR/AR mentors. You can see their names here. They are coming from different regions, organizations, universities, and companies, studios who already have an experience. And we, as you see here, we have different topics that these mentors are already expert. Today, without further ado, I would like to actually invite some of them here, and in terms of like some small tips and tricks and how actually a global game jam look like for them. Maybe they have some previous experience that they can share with us. So let's try to connect them. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for inviting us.
Great. So we have a few more mentors who can join maybe throughout the session, but let's start right now with our mentors here. Maybe you would like to introduce yourself. Carlos, would you like to start?
Yes. Can you hear me well? Good. So my name is Carlos. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of York in the UK. I'm part of a really cool games research program between several universities here in the UK, and my focus is on virtual reality, right? And I'm basically researching how can we support game developers in incorporating machine learning into their video games, right? Because machine learning is a very not that used technology in games, and I'm just exploring through my PhD how can we support them, basically. So yeah, that's me.
We can introduce also. How about you, Celia?
Work as UX UI. Yes.
Hi.
I can hear you.
Perfect.
A little delay.
Yes, now it's perfect.
Okay. I work as UX UI designer. That means user experience and user interface. And sometimes also I'm project coordinator in XR projects, because about the project, all the process in virtual reality or AR is a traditional workflow, like from the media or the design industry, but in a different environment. And you should take some design decisions before starting to develop, like if you will do some voice control, gestures with hand tracking, to think about accessibility. And with these kind of things, I can help you during this game jam.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. So today, I would like to ask both of you, maybe you can give a little bit of insight. So if you have 48 hours for a even client project, let's say, or a game project which you need to deliver, what would be your first thing, or what would be your preparation, and what would be your process for the production in the best way possible? Of course, you will have a team member, maybe a 15 member, but as a personal motivation, what would be, or preparation, what would be your first 2-3 things that you can enable for this 48 hours? Who would like to answer?
I think from the beginning, you should think in a very good idea, and the idea should be explained in few lines, and also your mother could understand it. And I start also the most of the times with POSITs, with Mural or Miro online, and you can start with all the team working together, taking some ideas in this artboard, but also thinking about that you have a 360 canvas. It's not only 2D screen, and you should prototype or do wireframes thinking in all this scenario.
Okay, Carlos?
Yeah, I resonate very much with what Celia said right now. I think prototype it early, even on your own real space, just with the props you can have at your house, maybe something that you don't mind throwing away, like, literally, like you have a plastic ball or you have a rubber duck, such as the one I have in here, right? And, you can play a lot in real life and you can see like, all right, what is working? What interactions do I find fun, enjoyable, and easy to implement? And yeah, definitely, like start early, ideating, and quickly implement something very ugly and dirty and see how it feels.
Okay, so what are the possible pitfalls or challenges that they can have? Because I'm thinking like for creating a game for a traditional or very well-established platform like mobile and PC is already quite limited for everyone. And creating something on a very in a platform that has that may come up with interesting challenges and unforeseen problems. So, what would be the possible scenarios that VR game developer teams a little bit behind? So, what are the precautions that you may recommend?
I think that the main obstacle is the distances, because you should think that the user probably could move in the scene, like far or in a short distance, and you should understand where to put the objects and in which like at what time the user will pass to this scene.
Mm-hmm. So, how about the interaction and interface design, Celia? Is it something that we should think of in the beginning? Because the complexity of interaction can really take up a lot of time. So, how is your approach on that? How to design in the best way possible so it will be finished in 48 hours?
About the UI, I think that is a good part to start, because if you understand very well the flow from the beginning, where the user or the player will go, you can start to think in the panel or the actions that the user will have. And I don't think that is a must to do it from the beginning, but it's very important to understand how you will go, for example, to a portal, to another place. Maybe you can have a button, or like in social platforms, or you have some features like silence the people or do something more than only with your controls. And you should understand if the UI will be diegetical, and if the buttons will be inside the experience will be better. If you think in the buttons that will activate inside the experience, than when you design for mobile or websites, you have buttons always there that they don't hide. But this in virtual reality is annoying because you have always the button here in your face, and you should think on that. So.
How about you, Carlos? What is your thoughts? Potential challenges, pitfalls?
I very much agree with what Celia said. And on top of that, I would say that you should start very early to see what framework for XR interactions work for you, because there are so many of them, and you should totally check what's right now working with your game engine version, either Unity, Unreal, whatever you want to use. There's so many options out there. So, check how XR Interaction Toolkit from Unity works for you, how VRTK, how MRTK might work, and, see, what tools you have available to quickly prototype your ideas, because you can spend so much time just, making sure that this toolkit has all of the interactions you want, or, oh, I don't understand how to pop up a button, or, oh, I cannot interact with the button with this one, and I'm mixing things together. So yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Are you talking both for VR, AR? Do you have any recommendation for each? Because some people may want to create something in a mobile AR or in different AR platforms.
About AR, the only thing that I could like is to see something more useful, not only to have a 3D model in the screen. I would like to have something real useful for the user. But about designing, you know that you will have transparent models because you will mix it with the reality, and you should do the assets more transparent or not covering in the screen. But in virtual reality, you have all the 360 canvas to do whatever you want.
Exactly. Celia, I have also one more question. There are many interesting prototyping and design tools for especially VR, like Gravity Sketch, right? Or you can even create something in very quickly with paintbrush and other things as well. But the critical thing that I'm seeing is there are several platforms that you can actually design everything in your head before even start coding. So are you seeing a value to use any of them, or do you have any recommendations so they can first create a design perspective much more high level and then go deep and then align with the team members?
Yeah, totally. I agree with this. I used also Tibori, and there you can think in the distances and how will be the scene before starting to create in Unity or Unreal. And it's very useful also for the developers. For example, I can start to creating this that is very easy, like Carlos said about the dirty or something so fast. And then if you send this to the developers, it will be easier for everyone. Because sometimes I think that when we design, we have abstract ideas, but if you start prototyping and inside virtual reality, it's amazing how this can be faster.
Okay, Carlos, are you using any prototyping tools?
It really depends. I would say, yeah, I think it really depends on what you want to do, right? I think if you are going to do something where the 3D models and like the visuals of your project are really important, it might make sense to use something like what's this app that is open source, Tiltbrush, right? Or any other software that allows you to, in an immersive environment, sculpt, and explore these visualizations of your ideas. But if you are looking for something less visual oriented and more interactive, that's the way it tends to work. I usually just get an empty Unity scene, with like a few cubes, few boxes, my toolkit of choice, and then I start experimenting, playing, giving myself some time to see what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and I usually do that in the editor. But of course, as I said before, if your project, your game, 48 hours is very, focused on how it looks, you should definitely, sketch something quickly in Tiltbrush or whatever other quick immersive sculpting tool you have available.
Great. So how it is different in terms of team formation, since we will probably see more in tomorrow's team formation sessions, how can it be different than normal game team formations? Are you seeing a different function or a function which has much more different responsibilities when you compare a VR game team formation versus traditional game team formation for PC and mobile?
I think a big obstacle between the normal games and the VR games is the controls. Because when you have the PC games, for example, you understand that you have the mouse and the keyboard, But in virtual reality, sometimes the headsets are a lot and not standardized. So you don't know how the player will use it. How are the buttons, for example? Or also if you will use hand tracking and also the controls, you need to think about that.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. How about you, Carlos? Are you
I
seeing
would
any?
say that I would say that there is a lot of testing involved in a VR game. So I wouldn't recommend a team that is very big to manage versus, traditional game making team where, like you might have more room for managing, you have maybe 5-16 members. That's quite a big game jam team. Probably if it's just 3 of you at most, you'll have enough. Sending builds around, sharing assets, seeing how everything looks like in VR, feeling it as well. You spend a lot of time physically, interacting with things in the virtual environment and so on. So that would be my main point in terms of team size, right? You want a small team for 48 hours in VR.
Yeah, definitely. Have you attended any VR hackathons before? VR game hackathon or VR maybe another topic, but focusing on VR? Or let me ask like that: have you created any VR experience on any hackathon or game jam?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
which
I was
ones?
in.
Can you share a little bit of your
Yeah,
personal experience? So, yeah.
I was in XR Cannes, and we developed a demo of a platform of theater about how the actors could rehearse inside the platform, like a social, like a social game, but more oriented to actors and how you can read the script or see the clothes before starting the real act. Because the COVID, we did this. And also the hand tracking hackathon that you did also, you were partners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we won, my team won the second prize, and we did
Yeah,
the
I
escape
know.
room about the Quantum Quest. Escape room about the COVID.
It's quite recent. So what was your experience like? What is the maybe a few key takeaways that you can share? When you go back, what would you do differently when you are starting the hackathon?
One thing that is very important is to understand that you will put some features outside. Don't try to do all. And it's very important also to think in the deliverable, because if you have a good concept idea, design, or all together, the 3D assets or all, if you have it, it's good to show them. Maybe not in the demo, but you can show them in the presentation, in the final presentation, in social media, everywhere, and don't focus only in the demo that you will send to the judge.
Okay, don't focus on the
Only
demo.
in the demo. Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
when you do the project, you send the AP key or
Yeah.
the final executable. But also you can mix it with a presentation or with another kind of things to the other people to understand what you did.
Okay, great.
So take screenshots
But
of your experience or screenshots of your team working. These kind of things will be useful also.
especially when you are pitching your own demo, right? So it will give a much more context for people.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I think Diego also joined us. Hello, Diego.
Hey,
How are you?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Super glad
Hi.
to be here. Answering that same question, I guess. Last year I
Yeah,
was fortunate to
exactly.
be part of.
Yeah.
No, I was fortunate to be part of Blackbird Interactive. They made a VR-centric hackathon. and it was pretty fun. We made a game where there was VR players and non-VR players. The non-VR players were mice, and they were using cannons to launch into a giant wedding cake, and they would steal pieces of the cake. And the VR player was the chef, trying to swap them away, grabbing the pieces, putting them back together. I can send the link to anyone that wants to try, but the setup is a little pain because you need a lot of controllers and ports.
Wow. So how many, is it 48 hours or 48 days it took? Because it looks like a cross-platform and...
It's 48 hours. I guess continuing on that line of thought, my advice for everyone participating, and it might sound counterproductive, is for everyone to rest well. Make sure of sleeping well, eating well, because that's going to help you be more creative, more open to ideas. That's my first piece of advice.
Yeah, I
Totally.
remember one of our students, our like jammers. Unfortunately, it was her first hackathon or game jam, and she forgot to drink water like a lot, like for the last maybe 15 hours, etc. And people already know that, and she even couldn't find time to go to like drink water. So yeah, she had a very difficult time, I remember, towards the end of the hackathon. So yeah, this is important. I mean, you will be at home right now, so please take care, everyone. We cannot take care of, or we cannot be helping you, you know, so you are all alone, so don't push so much. And we are at your service, right? Anytime if you are overwhelmed, we are happy to support on Discord, psychologically and technologically, so whatever you would like to have. How about you, Carlos? How was your experience?
Yeah, so actually I was very lucky because right before the pandemic unfortunately started, here in London in the UK, HTC organized a really big VR hackathon, a VR event. You know, they brought lots of headsets, really like cutting edge technology. We got these lip and mouth trackers. So I got double lucky because I got the team up with amazing people, you know, and really creative individuals. I was the only man in the team, which was good. You know, it was like a very female-led team. I was very happy about that. And we created this we were like all very research focused, right? And we're like, all right, let's make something funky and different, and you know, very like, let's see what we can do. So we won the first prize thanks to a basically an active listening experiment, right? Where you are encountering a virtual avatar that is an old friend of yours and is telling you a story. And the game is using several different machine learning algorithms, and it's constantly analyzing your body posture, your nonverbal cues, as well, you know, as your face, where you're looking at, and so on. And this virtual avatar is basically telling you a story that is quite touching, right? So if you are behaving as you should behave when you're hearing a touching story, that virtual avatar, she will tell you more about what happened to her, right? This dramatic story with this very sad ending. But if you're behaving as if you don't really care, that has consequences, right? And yeah, there was a lot of technology involved, and it was really fun to work with. We were so tired afterwards. So yes, guys, take care of yourselves during the jam. You will do such a much better work, really.
Exactly. Is there any unforgettable experience that you have experienced on any jam, previous game jams or VR jams? Anything interesting you would like to share?
I think when you mix yourself with a good team, sorry, sometimes the voice is with delay. When you have a very good team that they know what they do, and also they are all the time giving ideas, and they are fun and they want to do things, all will be good. You will do something so great. And I was lucky to have good teams the last times that I did hackathons, and it was very funny.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
You never forget a good hackathon team. Definitely. I've been very lucky as well of being part of amazing teams with super professional people, very fun people to work with. I remember a couple of years ago, I went to a hackathon in Seattle. It was all about human connection and in virtual reality. And I remember with my team, we created this micro game based game. And I remember that a lot of it was one person was inside the headset telling the other one what to do, and the other one was outside performing the actions. And the best part of it was like, you have to salt the chicken. Come on, salt the chicken. Like things like, it's so ridiculous, so amazing. And we actually won best interaction design. So yeah, no, you never forget a good hackathon team. Definitely.
Yeah. Diego, one more thing that I'd like to ask, since you are also part of our master classes. So it was also a little bit a hackathon environment, of course. For 8 weeks, you are creating a project step by step and pushing the limits of your knowledge and experience. So how do you feel about that? How was it for you in terms of like, at least for the project creation or prototyping side?
The class was really fun. What I really like, for example, about the assignments is that they felt like puzzle pieces, right? They said, oh, this is the thing that you have to make. This is where you're starting, right? And then you start like, oh, yes, yeah, I can see how this thing relates to that other thing. And if you put them together, add a little bit extra, oh, there you go. I have my answer. It was like an Easter egg hunt in a way as well. I remember that when I would someone would ask, "Hey, how do you do this thing?" and we would all jump like, "Oh, have you tried this? How about this other thing?" Like, there's a lot of support in that class, and I really like that. I don't know. I just enjoyed it all over.
Perfect. Carlos, do you have any memory from any jam or development?
Yes, actually,
hackathons?
I met some of my best friends in game jams. When I was living in Sweden, I was a foreigner there and so on, so it was quite hard to meet new people, especially locals, right? Because you are surrounded with internationals, a lot of people in the same situation. So I went to this game jam in a city called Linköping. It was actually part of this huge festival called DreamHack, and I met with lots of Swedish locals, and we really connected very well. We actually didn't work in the same game together, but we still made really good friends just by trying each other games and talking a lot and giving each other advice. And I'm still in touch with them. I went to their place several times. They came visit me. I can't wait for the pandemic to be over to see them again, right? But definitely, friendship is something that you can get out of a good game jam.
Do you have any advice in terms of how to create this kind of meaningful connections and even friendships, even on Discord or online? Do you have any idea about that or any suggestion?
Meet a lot with them. Use the video conference, put the webcam, don't be shy, and share your knowledge with them, and try to have fun also.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
Then
actually
it will flow.
It is interesting, Celia, because in our masterclass also what we have seen is sometimes students are opening the cam, everyone is silent, everyone is working on their own thing, but I'm accountable towards you, right? So some teams actually, or some team members, that they were actually on weekends especially, that they were working in the same Zoom call, and when they have a question or when they want to a little bit make a joke or something, you can always do, but for 2-3 hours sometimes that they are working, and you cannot leave the table as much as you can normally, right? And this is also good to have commitment towards each other. I think this can be an interesting approach in this global game jam, that making sure that it is not only, okay, I'm sending the deliverables files, but let's sit down, have a co-working session, cameras open, and then make sure that it is as close as possible to a physical one. So yeah, this might be interesting. So we are almost finishing the session, but I would like to ask maybe as a last tips, we can definitely have a few more sessions, actually we will announce that we will have mentorship or open office hour and even meetup sessions for especially VR AR related teams or anyone who is interested on VR AR. We will also announce that. But before closing today, so what is your top tools, assets, or SDKs that you recommend to survive in a limited time and to create one of the interesting VR AR games possible? Any
Doodwin
suggestions?
is great for polish. It would allow you to make things procedurally in a way, and that's really helpful. I would say BRTK is great for prototyping. On a full game, you probably won't use that, but to have grabbables, teleporting, UI, that's really great. And yeah, those are two very good tools for VR.
Perfect. Any other suggestions?
Carlos? Or me?
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. Yeah, I would actually recommend VRTK is really good, but maybe a bit too complex for some people, especially newcomers. I think Unity is doing a really good job with their own interaction toolkit. So the XR interaction toolkit, it comes as a package in Unity, so you can easily download it and integrate it in your project. And it's not as fancy and big as VRTK, but if you're new to this, I would much rather start with something like that. And it will work with any headset, so you don't need to worry about different Oculus and Steam SDKs and whatnot.
From my side, I think Miro and Mural to start to the ideation, or if you can do some research, speaking with people or doing these things, you can put all in 2D there. And the Figma software is so easy to use it, and you can do it from the application or from the web. I think you would like it.
How about AR for those who will create something with AR?
For example, in Figma, you can put the mockups of the mobile phones and then put there the buttons or the interface.
Yeah. Carlos, is there anything that you'd like to share about AR part?
Yes, I think you have two good choices, Unity side of things. You have either the AR Foundation toolkit that is quite good, easy to integrate and so on, and you also have the older Vuforia plugins, right? I've worked with both, and I would say that Vuforia is easier to get working with, but I think it's a bit clunkier. So both are good choices, and you have a good community. Feel free to ask questions, and one of the things I really want to share the message is don't be afraid to share your idea. Really, like everyone has an idea. Don't be worried about it. No one's gonna copy your idea. Much rather, you will get lots of help from saying I want to do this in AR. I don't know how to do this. I think my design is lacking something to make it more fun. So yeah, feel free to reach the community. It's very helpful.
Exactly. So we are actually exactly for this purpose. We are at this Discord channel. So in order to wrap up and give the last maybe reminders, you can find our mentors in the VR AR channel. And as our mentors mentioned, feel free to ask anything. There is no stupid question. There is no stupid idea. Please share anything you are thinking of. And even prepare, if you have prepared some kind of videos or some mock-ups, feel free to share. And we are also happy to discuss about that in the open office hours that we will open in the next couple of days. And happy to also answer any question on the Discord channel. So I would like to thank again all our mentors and our mentors coming to join us today. And tomorrow and in the upcoming days, we will also announce a few more VR, AR focused programs and sessions. So anyone interested is more than welcome to join. So thank you again. And I would like to give the stage to Tim or maybe he may want to take the stream, and then we can start.
Yeah, thanks to all of you for joining us today and providing that excellent content and information for all of our jammers who are going to be working on VR, AR, MR programs or projects during the jam, and for being available as well and making yourselves available to all of our jammers to answer their questions that they might have about their projects. It's really a valuable resource, and I hope that people take the time to take advantage by joining our Discord and looking for you there on the VR, AR channels, as you mentioned.
Thank you, Tim. We will also share the open office hours, so we can also add to the schedule for anyone who would like to join.
Sounds great, and we'll be back shortly with some friends of ours from the IGDA Foundation to talk about their involvement with Global Game Jam Online.
Thank you. Have a very nice day.
You too.
And jam, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody enjoy the jam.